just beginning to understand love, fell for a charming and wealthy 50-year-old man. Before long, she moved into a luxury apartment with him, becoming like a caged canary, kept hidden away at home. One day, Director Li returned to his house in Nanjing, only to be stopped at the front door by his wife. Zi Yanhong had once been a famous opera star. After catching Director Li's attention, she married him, but she couldn't tolerate his constant affairs. Over time, she grew deeply unhappy and eventually picked up destructive habits. She especially despised women who used their beauty to climb the social ladder, and it didn't take long for her to notice that Li treated Wang Qiao differently. With a single phone call, Wang Qiao's existence was revealed to her. At first, she brushed it off, but she was warned this time was different. Wang Qiao wasn't like the others. She was the newly crowned Miss Shanghai, not only stunning, but also intelligent and talented, someone who could genuinely threaten her position. That warning hit its mark, and Zi Yanhong immediately felt a sense of danger. Hearing that her husband would be coming home, she quickly had the maids dress her up and chose his favorite outfit. But the distance between them had already grown too wide. Their conversation went nowhere, and her bitter, sarcastic tone only pushed him further away. In desperation, she even threatened to take her own life, but he stopped her by forcefully taking the scissors from her hand. That night, she ordered the servants to keep music playing to create the illusion she was home, but secretly slipped out at midnight to visit the Zhang family. Together, they began plotting how to eliminate Wang Qiao. That same night, Yaoyao received an invitation. Even though she was living in luxury, she had already prepared herself for a life of loneliness. Still, the Zhang sisters were known to be dangerous, and the sudden invitation filled her with unease. But she knew one thing: running away wasn't an option. Facing a room full of powerful women, she forced herself to stay composed. With a single calm line, "I don't accept rewards I haven't earned," she left them all speechless. When they tried to persuade her, she treated their words like advice from elders and skillfully avoided mentioning Director Li at all. Watching everything unfold, Zi Yanhong grew impatient. When she realized the plan had failed, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She led Wang Qiao into a private room and confronted her directly. Then suddenly a gunshot rang out, pushed to her limit. She tried to kill Wang Qiao, but in the very moment she pulled the trigger, she suddenly collapsed from illness. That split second was enough for Yaoyao to escape, barely surviving the encounter. After that encounter, Wang Qiao was completely shaken. She made it home, but the fear hadn't left her yet, and then came even worse news. Her father had suddenly fallen ill and was being rushed into emergency care. Her father had always pinned all his hopes on her. Now, lying on his deathbed, he had just one final wish: that his daughter would one day have a proper place in society. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace. After he passed away, Yaoyao sank into deep grief. She couldn't move on without rethinking her entire future. So she left for Suzhou to stay with her grandmother, hoping to find some peace. But the moment she stepped off the train, she saw him. Director Li had already been waiting, and in that moment, his presence felt like the only warmth she had left in the world. When her grandmother first met him, she immediately sensed he was no ordinary man. At dinner, she casually brought up the flowers in the yard, saying that plants touched by morning dew always seem more vibrant the next day. Then she added, almost like a lesson: men are like that dew to women. With love and care, a woman can stay radiant her whole life. As for their 30-year age gap, the grandmother simply called it fate. Director Li opened up about the struggles in his career, reflecting on how unpredictable life can be and how, in the end, the only thing that truly stays might be love. He spoke in poetic lines about fate, about how nothing is ever truly in our hands, and how the moments shared over a drink with the right person the hardest to forget. The grandmother could see his sincerity, his loyalty, but she had lived long enough to know better. Things that feel too perfect rarely last, and that thought quietly worried her. Yaoyao and Director Li spent a few beautiful, peaceful days together in Wuqiao town, some of the happiest moments of their lives. But like all good things, it didn't last. Before they left, her grandmother handed over a carefully prepared dowry and entrusted Yaoyao to him. It felt like a blessing, like the beginning of something lasting. But neither of them realized this was actually the last chapter of happiness they would ever share. But like always, it didn't last. As tensions in the outside world grew, Director Li was pulled back into his duties and had to leave Shanghai. After he left, the happiness Yaoyao had just begun to feel quickly turned into loneliness. She found herself alone again, trapped in silence. Then one day, an old friend suddenly showed up. It was Wu Paizhen, once her closest friend. But things had changed. Driven by ambition, Wu Paizhen had been trying to climb into high society by getting close to the wealthy heiress Zhang Lily, and because of that, the two friends had slowly drifted apart. Not long after, under the Zhang family's influence, Yaoyao was crowned Miss Shanghai. From the crowd, Wu Paizhen watched her shine and felt genuinely happy for her. It was just like Yaoyao's mother once predicted. She had always believed Wu Paizhen would marry into a good family, and now, that prediction had come true. Wu Paizhen had come to share the news of her upcoming marriage. She told Yaoyao she'd soon be moving to Hong Kong with her husband. Hearing that, Yaoyao felt a wave of mixed emotions. On the surface, her life looked perfectly luxurious, admired, but deep down, she felt like a bird trapped in a golden cage, unable to escape, her loneliness echoing in everything she did. When Wu Paizhen mentioned Mr. Chen, the man who once truly loved her, Yaoyao finally opened up. She admitted she couldn't explain why she was so drawn to Director Li, yet felt nothing for Mr. Chen, despite his honesty and sincerity. At that same time, Mr. Chen had no idea what her life had become. He had been searching for her everywhere. Once he finally found her address, he rushed straight to her apartment. The moment they saw each other, everything came rushing back. But instead of relief, Yaoyao felt overwhelming guilt. With her current situation, she didn't even know how to begin explaining. They sat there, talking awkwardly, as the daylight slowly faded into evening. And then, without warning, Director Li returned home after 2 months away. He stepped inside and found them sitting together in the dark. Yaoyao was overwhelmed with emotion at his sudden return. But for Mr. Chen, that moment felt like everything shattering at once. They had no choice but to leave in a hurry. Director Li, who had seen so much of life, immediately recognized Mr. Chen's feelings for Yaoyao and invited her to his home as a guest, subtly acknowledging the situation. Meanwhile, Yaoyao was bustling around, preparing for their visit. She instructed Madame Zhang to make sure Lily's favorite dishes, char siu and fish fillets, were ready. It had been a long time since she had felt this kind of joy. Lily, sharp-tongued but soft-hearted, had come along anyway. They even wore matching outfits to greet Director Li, but Lily quickly gave the uncle a playful challenge, asking how she should address Yaoyao now. Embarrassed, Lily was left speechless. During dinner, Director Li received a sudden call informing him that the nationalist government would be relocating to Guangzhou and that he had to leave immediately. Yet he calmly continued his meal as if nothing had happened. At the table, all four had their own thoughts weighing on them. Only Mr. Chen lost his composure, picking up his glass and drinking on his own, cup after cup, until he quickly became drunk. The next morning, when Chen woke up, Director Li had already arranged for someone to take him to the French consulate. Li wasn't interested in discussing Chen's past with Yaoyao. He only asked repeatedly for Chen's opinion on the current political situation. It turned out that Chen, unknowingly, had helped a friend take numerous secret military photos, and orders had been issued to remove this potential risk. But during their conversation, Li discovered that Chen was completely unaware of politics and had been totally honest, even openly confessing his love for Yaoyao. In the end, Director Li chose to let him go, ensuring Yaoyao would have a backup plan if anything happened to him. At the very least, she would have Chen's support. Li even prepared a chest of gold bars for Yaoyao and instructed that if anyone asked, Chen must never admit their relationship. Months passed. On the eve of Shanghai's liberation, Director Li returned in a rush, determined to take Yaoyao out of the city. But he was delayed, shopping with a friend, and waited half an hour without seeing her return. With time running out, he had no choice but to leave first. Only when Yaoyao returned did she realize she had missed him. Yaoyao's mother came to visit, fully aware that Shanghai was on the brink of liberation. Given Yaoyao's identity, staying in the city was extremely dangerous, yet her mother refused to leave, determined to wait for Director Li. Yaoyao, usually reserved, suddenly called Director Li that day to see him. She set off for Shanghai, but as soon as she left, someone betrayed her whereabouts. Their phone call was intercepted by Madame Yuan Pei. Commander Yang should take the 2 p.m. train this afternoon. Once she arrives, she may go straight to Alice's apartment. Why did you report Director Li's movements to Commander Yang? Because Director Li has been spying on her. Yaoyao could never have imagined that this single phone call would cost her the man she loved forever that very night. Like and subscribe to catch part 4.